legendary hero Bakshi is very soon going to be added to the gold keys, and they're even going to add the ability to migrate between kingdoms. Stick around in this video for a crucial update coming to Call of Dragons. Hello my friends and welcome back. I'm Chisgule Gaming, and I can say unironically that on 420 the game is changing really dramatically. There's going to be an update that brings some really big changes, and I'm gonna read through them top to bottom to talk about the things you need to know. Like, for example, you might want to hold your gold keys, or maybe you want to start opening all of them. So let's get right into the update and what the implications are for your account. First up, a smoother route to prosperity. They've added a new division migration system, which will be rolled out to servers once they have completed 2 seasons. You'll have a limited time period to move to other servers in the same division as you. Please note that every server has a player limit, and you will not be able to migrate to servers that have reached their limit. You will begin the next season playing alongside other lords on your new server. Wow, so this is big. First of all, servers are going to be rated by division. We know from the predecessor of this game, Rise of Kingdoms, that this was a common thing. The other thing that's really significant is that you'll be able to migrate after 2 seasons. So for season 3, you could potentially play with a different group of people if you wanted. But will it be free? They don't really mention anything about what the cost is going to be here, but for perspective, in Rise of Kingdoms, this either takes you a very, very long time to accumulate something called passports, or you spend a lot of money and you get them in a short period of time. To be a really high-power player, you need something like 75 passports, which if you were rushing over the course of 3 months, in Rise of Kingdoms would cost you $1,200. So until we know what this actually is going to look like, I am hyped for the possibility of migration, and I simply hope that there isn't a cost associated with doing it. Give people the opportunity to play with who they want to play with, and they'll probably play the game for longer. That just seems like a win, right? Let's go to number 2 on the list, and this is a great quality of life change. Added a new item, Reserve Legions. Use this item on the Legion training screen to greatly increase the number of units produced by your current training effort. It takes a long time to train troops in this game, 1,600 troops at a time. And in the predecessor to this game, Rise of Kingdoms, they had something called a reserve that would extend the number of troops you could train at a time by 2,000, 5,000, 10,000. I think they had 1,000, 20,000, 50,000. So you would use these reserves in order to train lots of troops in a hurry. It just is really annoying to train millions of troops in a short burst. And I know it's like, wow, poor you with such a high quality problem having all these speed ups to spend. But whether you're free to play and hoarding for an event, or if you're spending, it's just really annoying. Plus, it's really nice to have reserves because you can queue up troop training and then let it sit and time it to end during an event. So if they add these really long reserves, like a 50K reserve, okay, that means the number of troops you could train is your base amount plus 50K more. You could line up a bunch of troops to finish on an event and then get a bunch of points without having to use any speed ups at all. So we're gonna see kind of what that looks like and what they cost. In Rise of Kingdoms, it is actually bad gem value to gem reserves, okay, rather than gemming the speed ups. And there's a number of reasons why that's the case, but we'll just wait and see what that looks like in Call of Dragons, okay? From here, they have improved the display for information regarding the sources of artifact emblems and added a skip feature directly to the Forge of Light event. When the event begins, the Go button displayed next to the information regarding the source of the emblem will take you directly to the event. I like that they're doing some of this quality of life stuff. It is important to know where you can get things from, but let's go to the next item, which is that they are adjusting the Augerstone process for Season 1. The Resurgence feature will be unlocked once Chapter 1, Faith Above All, has been completed. So we can go to the Augerstone, and we can find Faith Above All. And I can tell you what Resurgence is and why this matters. Resurgence is where you switch zones. And when you switch zones, you also, by the way, reset all of your seasonal policies, and you lose half your policy currency. It's very, 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 very expensive. So today you have to go through many stages of many stages of the season's progression before you can resurge. And the problem with that is that you're just basically knocked out for a large portion of the season. I think Resurgence happened over here. Let's see. The Merit store opened, and here's Resurgence. So currently it's in Warsong. So this basically means that at the very start of the season, you can figure out, oh, wait, I'm in a terrible province to be in, and go to another one, which is a big deal. So I think that is a good change. And being able to do that toward the start of the season, I think is also really, really good, because then you're not knocked out relevance-wise for, the remainder of the season. You've got a solid amount of merits still to work with. Now, they said for item number 2, that was all item number 1. Number 2 is that they have added an even richer combat experience. They have improved Behemoth combat. Previously, only Alliance leaders and officers could summon Behemoths, and there's no ability to control them. But in this new update, you'll be able to control a Behemoth's actions within range of the Behemoth's targeted building. Well, this is really cool, okay? Because the Behemoth just kind of runs around like a bozo, doing whatever the AI thinks is good. But if players can do what they think is good, that is just really awesome. I'm very eager to see how that will work. And by the way, if you're getting value from this video so far, do me a huge favor, throw a like on the video and consider subscribing to the channel. I have made literally over 2,000 videos about the predecessor to this game, and I will be making daily videos about Call of Dragons, so you're not going to want to miss out on the next video. Thank you for honoring my commitment to you're getting the best information possible by throwing a like on the video. Now from here, they're adding a new officer title, the Beastmaster. This is the person who controls your Behemoths. Only the Beastmaster will be able to summon and control Behemoths. Leaders and other officers will no longer be able to do so. I feel like there's pros and cons to that. Like if your R5, that's your leader, is offline and they don't reassign the Beastmaster, you basically can't have anyone except the one person summon the Behemoths. I'm, kind of lukewarm on that, but let's continue on here. They have improved the display of information regarding legions on the map, adding a new unit type icon. The unit type icon will display the units of all legions currently marching or fighting on the map. So seeing the unit type is definitely interesting. Seeing whether or not it's cavalry or infantry, mages, or marksmen could be really helpful. They've also added a merit distribution table for battle reports involving rallies and garrisoned armies. The merit distribution button will be located next to the kill rewards button for the battle reports and will allow you to see the number of merits gained by each player whose legions join the army. They've also improved the share feature for battle reports. You can now share multi-battle reports directly to the chat window. All right, look, I think the idea that a player can control the Behemoth is a really good thing. If you want to see what it looks like when someone summons a Behemoth, I did a live stream with one of the biggest fights that's happened, probably in Call of Dragons to date, although it was just a Zone 1 fight, and it was a lot of walking for a fort drop. But if you want to see what that looks like, where a Behemoth gets summoned and it just kind of runs around and we hope for the best, I'll have a card up top and also in the end screen, so you can go and check that out. Now from here, they have an improved alliance system. They've added the ability to directly zoom into the Alliance Leader's location. The button located next to the Alliance Leader's name on the Alliance screen will take you to their position. They've also adjusted the rules for replacing officers. There is a 15-minute cooldown for changing any officer role. I don't really like that. After the cooldown ends, you may change roles again. I would assume they're preventing some sort of abuse of who has certain titles, but I don't know, man. Of all the changes in here, I wonder what problem they're solving. Could just be that they don't want the Beastmaster to change around too much, which is the new title. And they've adjusted the rules for building Alliance core fortresses. Alliance core fortresses must be built in an Alliance's affiliated region. Now, this is really interesting because that fight I was telling you about earlier, both parties that were fighting did a core fortress drop into a different region. And that is because a core fortress, you have several with your alliance, is much cheaper than the other fortress types. So definitely interesting that they see that and they're like, no more core fort drops. Too cheap, too easy. So now I guess you'll have to put either some other sort of fort, one of your other fort types, or maybe even just flag. And I am not opposed to either of those things. Whichever of those is true, definitely let me know down below in the comments. Now from here, number 4, a more beautiful Tamaris. They improved the Spring Warden building visuals to better match the faction's design. Okay. And they've improved the visuals for the technology screen to help you master your research. Your level of progress in each technology has been made more visible, and key technologies have made more prominent. Okay, cool. I'm eager to see what that looks like. Incredible story content. All right. Hey, take it easy. Maybe, have you heard the phrase, he who pats himself on back runs risk of breaking arm? Something like that. Look, I personally skip all the story content, and it drives me a little crazy. So what did they do? They've added the ability to rewatch narrative content. I will never do that. You can rewatch hero dialogues in the hero screen. I will never do that. And revisit main stories or village stories in tail screen. I will never do that. They've added the ability to skip the hero dialogues. Skip hero dialogues you've already seen is a W. And then they low-key drop this bomb like, oh, no big deal. Like whatever, nothing is going on here. Don't look here. Bakshi has been added to the gold chest and can be summoned from opening gold keys. Hello. That's it. Oh, and the Merchants Guild always welcomes any feedbacks or suggestions. So the significance of Bakshi, let's talk about this. In the beta, which I played for the last 6 months, consider subscribing to the channel if you're looking for guidance from players who've been playing the game for a very long time. That includes me and many other people from my group. If you're wondering about Bakshi, he was in the Wheel of Fortune. What this says to me is that the developers originally put him in the Wheel of Fortune because they needed more heroes for people to try to collect while the beta was running for a really long time. And I think the sort of cycle of releasing new heroes into the game could accelerate a bit here into the global launch of the game. That's my expectation. So moving Bakshi out of the sort of Wheel of Fortune, which is where you were getting them before, and into the gold keys, to me, signals that they're going to be putting out new heroes soon, and those new heroes will eventually show up in later versions of the Strongest Lord, and also, which is, by the way, that's the equivalent of the Mightiest Governor for Rise of Kingdoms, and also the Lucky Spins, right? Which is the Wheel of Fortune. Presumably, Madeline will still remain in the Lucky Spin. Presumably, Madeline will be a hero you unlock in Season 1, perhaps later in the season. So start of the season's Kanara, maybe later in the season's Madeline, okay? But Bakshi you can now get from the gold keys. So depending on your stance on Bakshi, this means you either want to save gold keys or spend all your gold keys. If you're not interested in a cavalry hero, you should be spending all your gold keys now while Bakshi is not on the list. If you are interested, and who should be, in my opinion, it's very big spenders in the game and whales, then you want to hoard your gold keys so that boom, Bakshi shows up, you saved up a couple hundred keys, bam, you drop them open, and hopefully you get some Bakshi, okay? What I would assume is that the chances of getting a legendary will remain the same, but your chances of getting any one legendary will go down, but they'll have added Bakshi, so he'll be in the list of contenders for those legendaries that you can get from gold keys, which is very interesting. Now, very briefly, what does Bakshi do? Okay, he does hero skill damage to the target legion, 1400 factor, while granting vigor, increasing hit points by 20%. Very big. Bakshi's Legion deals 30% more damage to Darklings. He's a Peacekeeper. Wow. And that's very interesting because Bakshi and Emrys together are, as I understand it, the best rally in the game. It's just very high skill damage, very hard to deal with. Next up, all cavalry units gain 10% hit points, 20% cavalry physical attack. From there, when in battle, Bakshi's Legion randomly gains either Ascension, increasing your attack and defense by 30%, or Passion, increasing rage accumulation speed by 30%, or Spirit Siphon, launching normal attacks grants healing factor of 200 every 10 seconds, lasting for 5 seconds. Very interesting. I think the rage accumulation is where it's at, man. When you get that, that's a huge win. And then the expertise here makes it so that you deal hero skill damage to the target legion, modifying the active skill from 1400 to 1500 damage, and also making it so the vigor effect goes from 20% hit points to 30%, and it still lasts for that 5 seconds. You need to be level 40 and all other skills maxed in order to get the awakening skill. So Bakshi does look really strong, but he is a Peacekeeper, which, you know, in my estimation, all right, if you're going to work on one, I mean, why not just work on Emrys? Yeah, I mean, peacekeeping's cute, but PvP is really all that matters at the end of the day. You're either alive because you've fought for your position, or perhaps you've made a diplomacy server and peace talked your way into not having to fight, perhaps. But often might makes right in this game. So I would personally invest more in Emrys anyways. So unless you wanted a chance at, getting these 2 cavalry heroes, okay, I would just open up those gold keys probably before he arrives. I'm not saying Bakshi's bad. I'm just saying between them, Emrys is the one I'm actually a lot more interested in, okay? Now, if you got value from this video, do me a huge favor. Consider throwing a like on here and subscribing to the channel. If you want some more videos about Call of Dragons, specifically, if you want to see the Behemoth and the fighting and all that stuff I was talking about, card will be in the end screen for that really big fight in the game. Alternatively, if you want to see a hero tier list, evaluating which heroes are the very best and why it is that I don't think most players should be going for cavalry, then the card will be in the end screen for that as well.